we can look at a new piece for you today. Piece by Beethoven. Have you heard of Beethoven?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So, which period would he have been writing in? Which musical period?
Classical.
Okay, and do you know any other composers from that period?
There's Mozart, Haydn, Kuhlau, Clementi.
Oh, Kuhlau and Clementi. Okay, yeah, we've played some of those, haven't we?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Do you remember what you played by them? What kind of composition?
Sonatinas.
Sonatina, that's a good point. What's the sonatina?
A little sonata.
Okay, well, this is a bigger sonata. This is a full-blown thing. This is going to be a Beethoven sonata, one of his early ones. Okay, so he was writing in what's known as the classical period. What kind of traits would you expect to find in a classical piece?
It's melody and accompaniment.
Yeah, that's true. That's more likely to be in the classical period. What about the accompaniment? Can you tell me anything? You played a Mozart sonata last year. What kind of things happen to the left hand, the accompaniment?
Like broken chords or Alberti bass.
Alberti or broken chords. Very good. It is indeed. What about this one? What does that look like?
Broken chords.
It's broken chords. It is. So a chord analysis would be a good way to start with the left hand, wouldn't it? Maybe blocking some chords. Excellent. Okay, so we talked about the fact this is a sonata. Any guesses for the form of the piece?
Sonata allegro.
Sonata form, sonata allegro.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we know about that?
It has 3 main parts.
Okay. So it opens with the exposition, I think we know, and we have our first theme, which would be in which key?
G major.
Yeah, in this case it's in G major. And the second theme, which I can show you, starts here. What would be likely to happen to a second theme in a sonata allegro form?
It would change keys.
Yeah. Any ideas on this one? What it's changed? I know we haven't played it yet, but
D major.
yeah. What told you that then?
The added C sharps.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it wouldn't be a bad idea to play a G scale and a D major scale just to get going. Would you like to try your hand at a G major scale?
Sure. I'm gonna start down here.
Okay. D major. Great, and you know we've been working on building up the tempo of the scale, so you want to try them at about that rate and then maybe put a metronome on and build up the speed. So, you know, you're getting to that intermediate stroke towards advanced level, so we want to do that. Okay, wonderful. So we've set out our theme here in G major. We've moved to D major. Then what's likely to happen in sonata form? I have copied these pages so we can scribble on them. What is likely to happen next?
The development.
Development. So what can you tell me about a development? If anything. Don't worry if you can't.
I don't really know.
No, well, a development is the composer taking his ideas and kind of running with them. So he can really do whatever he likes, you know. In this case, he kind of uses the chord held there and the triplet pattern. He then kind of runs through some chord progressions. And it's a very short development because I see it coming back, bridging over and coming back to our original theme here, which again is in which key?
G major.
Okay. Any chance on the next page you can spot where the second theme comes in and tell me what happens to the key?
It comes in measure 87.
Yeah, it does. We're looking for that like 3 notes in a row pattern of triplets. But and what's likely to have happened at this point?
It's back in the tonic key.
Yeah, it's back in the tonic. Okay, well that sounds like a lot of history, and you're doing great so far. Well done. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back and we'll just try some hands separate to start on the exposition. And I want you to think, first of all, before we even play a note, about this, the time signature. What can you tell me about the time signature?
It's in cut time.
Cut time. So what is cut time again?
It's basically 2-2.
2-2. You know, that could have been written in 4-4, couldn't it? So what's the difference? What's it going to do for you, writing it in 2-2 instead?
It's going to be faster.
Yeah, so allegro ma non troppo, allegro but not too fast. It's relating to the half note beat rather than the quarter. But we won't worry about the speed for now. So what we want to do, let's just give the right hand a try. Okay. I want you to notice, though, some triplets, and so give yourself time to really read it to the smallest breakdown of notes. So let's have a look. So the triplet is triplet, maybe. So okay, let's have a go. Right hand if you wish.
Okay.
You're doing great. That's it. And running, running. And running, running. Yeah, there's triplet here. Here. Triplet there. That's it. Yeah, we can look at fingering there.
Yeah.
Triplet there. Yeah, let's stop there. That's great. That's your opening theme. Okay. Now, you will notice some dynamic markings in this, and to be honest, in the original, I've been consulting with the Henley edition, Beethoven didn't write any at all. But obviously there were practices of the day, and this edited version has written in a loud opening chord, so it's a bold statement, you know. Yes, it's like, hey, I've arrived. Then he drops right down again. Good job you left the trills out, because we'll talk about those, of course, separately. But we want a little bit more determination, this kind of triumphant feel at the beginning. I know you were just sight reading it, but that was great. Things to look at when you work on this, because obviously we don't want to dwell too long, because this piece is very playable by you. I mean, you did a great job there sight reading it. I loved how you kept the beat going. You had you were counting, obviously, that was good. I want you to think about things like a triplet pattern, you know, tripling up and down. There's an overall shape, climbing up and down. And we talk about this a lot, don't we? Not da 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 da, you know, which really isn't going to do it. So we're rising up and falling down. And then this here in particular, when we get to here, we've got the same thing here, falling down, falling down. I'm falling off the keys, falling down. So you know you've got that kind of falling pattern, haven't you? What kind of tips have I given you in the past about when you've got three notes and we want them to glue together and we want them just to sound even and seamless? Yeah, a little lean into the first one. Push it down, just a tiny bit. Obviously we don't want to overdo that. Okay, and then the same on these patterns here at measure 8. Do you want to try from the pickup here? Dia, 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 bi-ba-di-da-da-dia. Yeah, so we'll get the shape of the rising up. It's a B, C, C sharp, D. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You're doing great. Lean up and push it down. So something like this, you know, to me, it's not just dots on a page. It's, you know, I've talked about it many times. The cascade, you know, is a falling. So, you know, you really want it to kind of fall down. So you're starting at the top and you're smoothing it down. It's shaping the phrase down. So when you're practicing that at home, you can really work on that. It's traveling downwards. Think of, generally, you know, we're rising up, we're louder at the top, we're falling down, we're kind of coming back down. Okay, let's leave that for a moment. Let's have a little look at the left hand.
Okay.
Rather than do it all, let's pick out some parts. This, this actually on the triplet pattern, what would be a great approach to that? Any idea? What would I normally say when there's lots of chords?
Block the chords.
Yeah, let's try blocking them. Why don't we do that? Okay. So we've got, which chord is that?
D major.
D major chord, root position. Let's go. So we go 1, 2, 3. Get ready. It's going to change to the, which chord's that one?
It's either D major 4 or G major.
It's G major second inversion. It's GBD with the D at the bottom. Let's go. G chord. Pom, pom. Back again. D. And you can see, really, that's it. So when you're practicing, really all you need to do is practice the first, the change, back again. Well, up here, obviously. Yeah, so there, suddenly all of those notes stop being a problem, don't they? You know, it's like, oh, it's a broken chord. Okay, why don't we try them broken?
Okay.
Thinking of rotation, keeping them
Yeah.
very loose, and of course they don't want to be too heavy, do they? Because we want the melody to sing over the top. Okay, yeah, just a little like rolling, yeah, just that little push into the first one would help, but not too loud. Obviously, we're going to balance it against the other hand. So I think on the first theme, we're good. Let's. Oh, the other thing I was going to come back to is measure 6 here. You could actually block that in the left hand rather than, you know, because I know these notes are not difficult to you. Obviously, we're up in the treble clef, but rather than play the B, the A, and so we could do. Would you like to try that? And that will show you where he's going with the left hand rather than separating all the notes. Every other note here is the D, as we can see. Down, 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 skip. Oh, it skips.
I thought I had it, to be honest.
Yeah, no problem. And then we'd have the E. So we've got the E and the G. Yeah, so you could practice that way. And then the same thing, we want that rotation to come in when you get here. Great. Okay, let's look at theme 2. Let's have the right hand and see where that's going. Yeah, we probably want to look at the fingering to make it more finger legato. Have a look. So it tells you to put 4 on the E. I was thinking of this E here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
4, no. So we're going to go down, down, 4, and then you're going to come under. Let's try that again. That's right. I think in these cases, you know, it's easier to get it right first time and then build on that. So slowly and carefully. 2 and 4, tug. Yeah, can we get more of a tuck on there? So we go for 2 and 4 and practice. Yeah, let's try it again. And you see they've marked a little lift at the end of the slur, so let's lift and go on. Yeah, so we drop into the next one. Yeah, good. Let's keep going. Oh, can we? Yeah, that's kind of a little flat, isn't it? What can we do there? What can we do to liven it up? What do we know about 2-note slurs, for example?
Lift.
Well, it's a lean and a lift, isn't it? Yeah. So let's try. And also, if I said something twice, if I said, "Hey, Michaela, how you doing? Hey, Michaela, how you doing?" How does that feel? Hey, Michaela, how you doing? Hey, Michaela.
It's repetitive.
Kind of boring. If I said, "Oh, Michaela, how you doing?" "Oh, Michaela, how are you doing?" I would say it differently. So we got the same thing twice here. Let's try that, doing it differently. The first one's marked MF. So what might you do to the second one? What are your options?
Make it a little louder.
Build up, you could do it more. Or of course you could do it like an echo, you could do it less. So it's up to you, but let's have them different. Let's go. Hold on a second. Yeah, yours sounded the same to me. Did they sound the same to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I was making it quieter.
You thought you were making quieter. Well, you know, on this version there is a diminuendo marked further along, so you might want to keep it louder. You might want to say, "Hey, I said it once, I'm saying it again," you know, kind of build it up so that then you have somewhere to diminish. So let's try making the second.
Are these meant to be staccato?
Yes, this mark here is a definite staccato, just another way. So you go yeah, so it's got to be very detached. So put some character into it. Imagine, you know, Beethoven, you know, people think of him as being this angry, deaf old man. He wasn't always deaf, and he was, you know, it would make you pretty mad if you couldn't hear your music. So, you know, he was a younger man when he was writing this, and to me, it's happy. There's nothing sad or angry about it, so give it some life. Okay, you know something for me, we've talked about your technique before, that flat finger on the repeat just gives a flat you know, that isn't the staccato we want sparkling staccato. It involves curving a little more, I think, and really thinking of the upward movement of the staccato rather than I'm pressing this down, you know. Dia di dia da da da. Dia dia. That was much brighter. I like the tone there, but you did them both the same. So now do it again, but you decide, and I'm going to tell you which I think you did. Did you do it softer? Did you do it louder? Okay, well you definitely went louder, but then you started maybe MP, and the copy here is saying MF. You know, we can take that with a pinch of salt. We can decide to start it softer if we wish and to build up. So that's something you could think about, but you need to make your mind up of what you want to do on that. We have a similar issue going on here. I'm not going to take you through all of the notes because I know that you're really a good note reader. Let's look at some of the runs. Let's look here at measure 36. So scale is going to be really useful to us here, although we are in a different scale than we started at. So let's have a look, see if we can work that one out. What have we got going on? We've got a little grace note beforehand, dia. Yeah, so now we need to work out where the main pulse is. So we'll beat one, you know, we've talked about we're all equal, but we're not really all equal. We're all different, we're all special. Note one thinks he's pretty important. So beat one, beat one. Yes, that was already much better because you felt the groupings of the triplets. And again, the cascade, think of something going over the cliff and falling down. Wonderful. And then he says, hang on, I'm not defeated yet. So he stays down there and then he climbs back up again. And then he says, no, I'm going back down again. He goes to C. Okay, what can you tell me about C natural? Did we expect that?
No.
No. So, you know, the unexpected. You know, that they really, when we're doing predictable things, you know, it's very nice, very pleasant, but the unexpected makes it special. So suddenly, hey, everybody, listen up, I put a C natural in. So let's go to the C natural and move on. The same thing, rippling up and down, rippling up. So see it as a hand motion. You can do that. They're even because that's not a crush, it's not a poggiatura. It's basically you do them as 2 8th notes. Yeah, don't give up. Yeah, so we rise to the top. And then staccato third. Okay, a little thing on your staccato. Remember, they've got to be the equivalent of your triplet.
Yeah.
Da 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 da. Yeah, work out your fingering and then the same pop, 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 down. Dee-da-dee-da. Dee-da-dee. You remember the C sharp still? Dee-da-dee-da. They want to tug, tug, do you want to go from the A?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 5, 3, 1 over works well. 5, tuck, yes, and then jumping down. C sharp, remember? Yeah, and in fact, actually, some of those notes will be taken in the left hand, so you'll be adding the top of the chord there. Yeah, same thing, you know, it's repetitive in a way, but it's falling down. And then at the end, so you have an option here. So we start this loud, you know, dee-da-dee-dum, excuse me, dee-da-dee-dum, 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 all the same. What do you think we could do it? Do you want to stay loud or do you want to do diminuendo?
Diminuendo.
Well, the choice is yours. You can do either. I happen to know the other edition does put in a diminuendo, the other one we looked at, but this one stays loud. You know, there's no right and wrong there. Okay, and that would end the exposition. So I'm thinking for your homework, what you need to do really is to work on the exposition. Now, if you wish, we can color code the sections. Is that helpful? We often do that. Yeah, okay, well, let's do that now. How about you mark up theme 1, that just, you know, through the middle would do, all in the chosen color of pink. So let's do that real quick. I'm a great believer in the visual learning, and I think you like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, and then we'll take another color, let's call it orange, and we'll mark up theme 2. Okay. Yeah, I find that really useful for studying form. You know, you're able to see very clearly what you're doing in each section. Yeah, over the page, that's it. And luckily and I think we said here, we get down to the development, so it's going to be everything down to there. One more line, yeah. The development's very short in this piece. We'll leave that a different colour, but can you find where the theme comes back for our read? So the theme is going to be in pink. It's this one. Can we find that anywhere else to mark the return of? Yeah, so let's do that in pink again so we know what we're doing. Wonderful. A little over the page. Yeah. Thank goodness for Xeroxing. Oh, theme 2 comes back. So we should do that in orange. I think although it's in a different key, we should do it the same colour so we know. You can write on there that it's returned in the tonic. You can do that at home, can't you? Yeah. So I think most of the issues are covered. So see if that comes to the end. Sometimes there's a little coda at the end, you know, we might find, but I think actually in this instance we're good. I would keep going on, you know. So I would have said, knowing your capabilities, that actually you could work on all of this because we've covered most of the issues there for the 2 themes. It's going to be more or less the same in the end, and it's a very small development section. So if you feel confident to work on that, please go ahead. Otherwise, let's focus on the exposition and the recap for next time. What I would also like you to do, just to develop some critical listening, is do a little analysis. I would like you to listen, write in the name of the piece and the composer, search for it on YouTube, and then listen to 3. Write down who you've listened to. And I've given some tips on things like articulation, dynamics, voicing, and just say what you liked about the performances, what you didn't like, if there were any you thought were dreadful, any you thought were great. Just not enough to write, it's nice, you know, it's got to be, well, yes, I liked how they did this, the balance was good, I heard the melody, they kept the chords loose or whatever. And I think that's a great addition for us. You know, when we do MA next year, you've got your Reverie, which is a much more difficult piece in many ways. So it will be complementary to that. So well done, Michaela. You were awesome today. Let me turn the recorder off.